my black and white scarf, my black and white scarf, my black and white scarf, my black and white. Yeah, it's black and white. We're just black and white. It's my black and white. It's my black and white scarf.
Hello and welcome to the Town End podcast. It is season 6, episode 32. Well, it's town. That felt good. It allowed Derby too many Louth Derby defeats of late. It was brilliant just to finally get a victory over our closest rivals. To go through this game, big welcome back to the podcast to Gally.
Good evening, first of all.
How are you?
Not too bad.
We've missed you. Gaddy's back. Town is winning.
Town is winning. I'm a league winning manager at Castleton Bells.
The Bells win.
Finally.
The Town win.
Good night to get back into it. What is the crack?
Oh, good, Gally. Like, this game had a roller coaster written all over it. Myself and James were talking last week. It's the two most, out of form teams. It's the two teams that can't score. This is either going to be a cracker or it's going to be a drag. It ended up being a cracker, and thankfully we've come out on the right side of it.
Yeah, and at one stage, like I was just saying, they just quickly had a chat beforehand. I thought we were going to go out the wrong side of it. Even when it went 1-1, I thought, my God, this is going to be writing on the wall again. We're going to do what happened in Oriel Park. It's our first game in a while against these, and there's so much riding on it. Obviously, look for draw it as well back in the relegation fight, but even for ourselves in the run that we've had in the last couple of weeks, months, probably not even weeks now. You nearly say months. After the last couple of games, look, and albeit against better opposition, but the Louth derbies are becoming cup games. They really are. And Drogheda have had a better run of it, I suppose, in the last couple of games. But for what was a patchy game in the first half, overall, have we just shaded it? Probably, but I mean, just for pure excitement and pure bias, we're the better team. That's what I mean. But it's if you base it on league, they're too tight. These games are almost too tight. It's crazy. No matter where we are in the league against you and where it has been, the games are always tight. It's a long time since we absolutely battered them from pillar to post, or they battered us. But a game away at Drogheda is always a tight affair. It's such a different pitch. Although it's a typical League of Ireland ground like Oriel Park, it's such a tight place to play football. Like I always say when the games in Drogheda, the ground looks shrunken because the wall around it. And it just looks like such an atmospheric place to play, and a real kind of, it almost feels like it could take your breath away, like energy sapping. So, mentally and physically, I'm sure the lads are absolutely exhausted after that from both teams. But we come out the right side of it, and possibly, you'd like to think it might kickstart something, a fire in their belly over the next couple of weeks, because they definitely looked up for at the end of the game. Can love straight down to the fans as well after Darrell Hogan over. It was a massive win. It almost felt like a scalp, because we had such a bad run. That kind of, when you beat a Rovers nearly, that's what kind of that felt like tonight. But I mean, look, to go 1-0 up, Dylan off the mark, probably ended up going up 1-0. Even though the game start, we were a better team in the first half. We definitely earned it. We worked hard. We were resilient. We were like at the lads said in commentary at half time, Brian Kerr had alluded to the fact that nobody has conceded more goals than we're the bottom three. Us in the bottom three in the league have conceded the most goals in the league, but we don't play like that. Defensively we're a bit weak at times, but we're always playing on the front foot. We're probably one of the best pressing teams in the league, if we alluded to it before, and that was kind of our first half. We just hung in and we grabbed the strike when we got it. But like you say, I don't know what you're obviously at the game. I don't know what the atmosphere is like, but when you go 1-1, then it's
electric.
You're really kind of then shitting yourself then after that. But I mean, look, what a win! What a game! What a time to get it off the back of a really bad run. So it probably couldn't have come at a better time. So you're really hoping it'll kick on with it.
Yeah, it's like that. That's pretty much like Jamie Keown there was just saying on the Instagram, kind of saying, it had potential to be an absolute disaster when you're 2-1 down, I suppose. But after that win, you think you can kind of salvage something and kind of kick on and try to cement yourself maybe in that 4 position, because we just needed a win. We got a lot of luck that other teams were losing around us, But now we've kind of done our own little bit of business there tonight and finally got that win. And I was talking to James last week, and over the past 10 years, no team with more than 39 points has been involved in a relegation battle. That's us on 40 points. That was objective number one this year, was we do not get relegated. We stay in this division. You can now say with 7 games to go, objective, that's that bit done. That was objective number one, is now complete. So I think that's the big key for me as well, is like, now that you're there, you only can look up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because for the rest of the time, you're kind of thinking, if this running continues on, we could be in a spot of bother. But now you're probably looking, it would be, highly unlikely that you're going to get pulled into a relegation playoff now or anything like that. So you kind of have to look to just cement yourself in the best possible position in the league this year.
Yeah, and in the grand scheme of things, but look, when we calm down and we get off a high pedestal thinking we were going to finish maybe higher than we are, this is what we would have took at the start of the season, let's be honest. Look, as much as we got carried away, and I'm forced to put my hand up, you do get carried away, and you go over the top with optimism, and well, look, definitely guilty of that. So why wouldn't you be the way we've been playing? But I mean, you would have ripped your hand off for 40 points. Because like Reggie said, it's a rarity that you're dragged into that kind of relegation battle at these kind of levels. So, and you would expect us out of 7 games, there should be another 3 to 4 wins on the books there as well, at least. And with a bit of luck, a bit of a I suppose I was going to say a scalp in the cup. Would it be a scalp? Maybe. But yeah, I mean, like you would have taken this at the start of the year without sounding too cliche. Would you have wanted an extra probably 10 points on the board at this stage?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. We probably should have. We carry the form in. We've been probably susceptible at the back. It's probably the best way to put it. It's not like we can't play going forward. We just seem to have a wee bit of, it's not even so much an injury crisis, maybe just a crisis in confidence, a bit of mentality. But look, to go where we went tonight, to concede 2 and still come out with the win, I mean, that should boost them a lot. Never mind the win, it's the way they've done it as well. I mean, what a strike. Like, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but what a strike. And like you're even talking about, probably, as much as I don't like to talk about Drogh's goals so many times, and I don't think I've ever, but it was a throwback to Fats McElhenney. I mean,
it's exactly what I thought. That dink is exactly like Fats.
It was like he was watching the highlights before the game. Now, it's a different kind of angle, but my God, what a goal. I mean, we're not here to talk about Drogheda, but what a strike, what an absolute worldly. But who cares? We've hit a free kick in the 88th minute. Like, a 54-year-old Darryl Hogan is absolutely pinging it. The man is just, he has no limits.
You used to bring down the age of Ryan O'Kane, and now you bring up the age of Darryl Hogan every time.
It swings and roundabouts.
Jay McEwen just saying that we probably have a lot to be grateful this year, because Sligo are in a bit of a mess right now. And they're probably heading for the first division right now, and could be in trouble unless they kind of sort out their new structure as well. And he's right. I think at the same time, Jay, it's important that it shows what happens when you get your house in order. Like, this was us 2 years ago, kind of spiraling away and not able to put anything together, and off the field we were even worse. So it just shows you get your house in order, you can play football. It's a place where people want to come and play football with you, and it's much easier.
Yeah.
But going in tonight, like I say, we were bang out of form, but I suppose that, like you just mentioned already, form goes out the window. It's the cliche in these Louth derbies, and it has been true, and it's actually been very often the team with the worst form comes out with all 3 points in this one.
Yeah.
Like, we were winning titles at times, and then Drogheda were still doing us over the odd time in games in the Louth derby. So it just goes to show that it's not carrying form into this one isn't the be all and end all, and sometimes you need to be in a scrap, especially when I think you're going to Drogheda to play. Like you say, it's a tight pitch. It's going to be one of those games. I think the ref probably let a fair bit go tonight. There was a little bit of meat on a lot of tackles, kind of left in there. I think he showed the yellow cards when he need to, without kind of overruling the match too much. Just to throw back to the very start, I mean, I think the lineup come up we're looking is a 3 at the back, is a 4 at the back. It depended, I think, a bit if we were in possession and out of possession. But one person we've been talking a lot about, we talked about him after the cup match, Keane Dillon, getting 2 goals in that was key for him to get his confidence up. He's looked bright. He's been in the right position. He just hasn't quite hit the back of net. But to get that goal tonight was great for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, and and whether I know the boys in commentary, the pundits at halftime had said, Hogan probably should shoot. Has he squared it on purpose? I think the angle might have been tight from him. Is he going to give Keenan Dillon a goal? Well, look, we will say yeah, because that's the type of fella Darryl is, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. But I mean, yeah, that'll do the world of good, because he's had chances. He's been in around the box. He looks like a bit of a, someone who he has that hunger to get a goal. He's almost liable to kind of take too much of a heavy touch. So anything in around the box for him as a poacher should be ideal. Yeah. And when you've got Darryl Hogan playing off you, Leo Gack's in there as well when he's back on it. Trevor Clark, who did come off at half time, but those type of players really should be, he should be able to maintain that kind of, I won't say goal scoring heroics, but I mean, he should be able to get a goal every 1.5 games, something like that, because he's got all the hallmarks of a really top League of Ireland striker. So delighted for him to get off the mark. I mean, people might say, "Oh, it's close range," but I mean, you gotta get there. You gotta waste your time. You gotta, he's almost stretched for it on the left foot, albeit a heavy tackle as well. I don't know if it's Quinn that's tackling him. I can't really remember if it's Kane, but yeah, look, he's gotten himself into the position for the ball. He's timed it well. He's waited his tone, and Hogan's found him square, and great for him to get off the mark. And especially in a Louth Derby. I mean, no matter what you've done beforehand, if you can get a goal in the Louth Derby, you go into that bit of folklore between the two clubs, and it's kind of, up until then, we were definitely the better team. I mean, we pressed so well from back to front. I think even passing out from the back from the likes of Enda and Ogre to the wings, we're really playing on the flanks. So we've gone for it. We don't care if it's a tight pitch. The lads are more than happy and more than comfortable to play ball. And when you got someone like Keen Dillon in the right spot, which we haven't probably,
I don't think he's had those opportunities. We haven't played that sort of ball into the box. It's been a lot of crosses and stuff that's probably not playing to Keane game. Yeah. No, and I actually thought the pressure that Darryl put on the defender, that's kind of the pressure we've been put under of late, and we've come up the wrong side of it. So it was great to see us applying that pressure to another team and getting the goal out of it. 1-0 up and everything seems rosy here. I'm thinking, this is great. This is exactly what we want, because we've been falling behind early to goal, especially the Galway match, and then it's an uphill battle, and you're kind of looking at Galway, Drogheda. It's kind of a one-dimensional play at times. They like to play it long. They've got tall players to get in amongst the mix on it. It just seemed like a mad few minutes for us, just over the half-hour mark, and suddenly we're finding ourselves 2-1 down. And I kind of going, how did this happen? It kind of came out of the blue.
Yeah,
there's a wonder strike in there, but
there is a one. Look, there's no doubt about it. But I mean, to get that wonder strike off, nobody's put a tackle in. I mean, and in a Louth Derby, I can understand that any kind of touching the player you're probably going to do. And even you look at Hogan's goal, it's one of those where he's got himself into a position where it's ball or nothing, and they're really afraid to tackle. Not afraid to tackle, but they're afraid to kind of give him in because his feet are so quick. If you miss the ball, it's a penalty. And it's the same kind with Brandon Cavan. He's danced around 3 or 4. Look, he's hit an absolute peach. I don't think I think the goalkeeper's in the right spot. I don't think he's just expecting that. We think he can't really do a lot about it when you've the angle. He couldn't hit any further into the angle.
No.
But to go 2-1 down, I was going to say it's typical of the dog. It's not typical of the dog. It's just they've gone to sleep for a couple of minutes and they've allowed them back in. But when you let players run at you at half from the halfway line, I'd be critical of 1 or 2 in it in the build-up. Harry Groom's kind of got lost in the ball on the right. I don't know who's coming in on him on the right-hand side. But he stepped away. I know the guy's dropped the shoulder, but he's found himself in acres of space to run in and play the ball in behind. And it's a perfectly weighted ball. I mean, from to passing it at that weight, 22 yards from goal, to put it in between there and the 6-yard box, it's such a tight angle. It's a great wee pass in for Drawda's goal. But if you give them space, that's what they'll do. And Drogheda are one of those teams, like you said earlier, Chris, no matter where we are in the league, no matter what form we're in, they always punish you. Regardless, unless you've gone 4 or 5 in a luck, they always punish you somewhere. And they are one of those teams that will always get a chance and always take a chance against Dundalk. And no matter what, like I said, no matter what form we're in, like I said, they're like cup matches. They really are. It's like you're playing a knockout game, but they always find something to punish you with. And they really just took it. They just turned the game on its head in a couple of minutes, and that was the fearful point. You were kind of thinking to yourself, right, we're going to go in here at half time, nothing's going to change, and we'll make a few subs, and we just won't get back into the game. But I mean, look, credit to them. I mean, they've lost the head for a few minutes. They've gathered themselves obviously at half time, and they've come back out and just didn't take no for an answer.
Well, just look, as I said, there's a wonder goal in there. We are behind. It's definitely Fats-esque on that. Just to go back on Frank's point earlier, because I think, probably over the past few games, we've probably looked at sometimes the substitutes and the impact that they've had, and we've probably been quite restricted, as in the players coming back, you're trying to get minutes in, or we're just making subs because we need to get guys out of games sometimes, or change stuff around due to injury. Tonight, I felt that when I seen Dervin on the bench, I was like, oh, that's surprising, because in a Louth Derby. Yeah. But then I felt that he just came in with that right energy. He wasn't, sometimes when it's like letting A off a leash sometimes, and he's gone absolutely mad, and he's thrown himself in the tackle. He seemed to measure himself quite well, I thought, in a second. Gave us a little bit more bite in the middle. It wasn't as easy to play through. Like I say, maybe, the run and stuff through that we had seen for the two Drogheda goals. I think Kieran and Ken looked at that probably at halftime and said, like, that's too easy. We're getting walked over a little bit too easy there. Yeah. We need to get someone again there who's happy to break up play. We'll take a foul, take a yellow card, whatever, just to break up play to make us that little bit harder to play through. But, Dervin, Tracy, McDade, all a massive impact tonight. Massive impact, no more than Shane Tracy. He was on the wrong end of an OG the last time in the Louth Derby, where he's trying to clear it at the back post and unfortunately it goes in off him. This time he gets to rewrite the script and really have himself put into the Louth folklore of a local guy again scoring in the Louth Derby.
Yeah, and even if you mentioned Dervin there at the top of that one, I think the last game we were giving it almost that Buckley didn't start, and when he came on, he almost came on too late, or he just wasn't involved in the game. But then we had the opposite of reaction tonight. Buckley's in and done all the dogged work, and then, like you said, Dervin's able to come on, and he's just letting a Rottweiler off the leash. That's what it is. I mean, like, I would hate to play against a player like that. He can be in and out of the game sometimes, but if you're sapping an energy in a Louth Derby and you look to the sideline, you see a Nave Dervin coming on, and you can't plan for it. There's nothing you can do about it, because he can be so elusive in a game. He's probably one of the most underrated midfielders in the league on his day. Yes, he's had some poor matches over the season and maybe the last 80, but when he's on it, I mean, that's what you want. You want someone to come in and just absolutely grind players into the ground, having worked for an hour or whatever it may be against the likes of a Buckley or even an Anna Massahoon at the back, Harry Groom, that type of thing, or been chasing a Keane Dillon. But then to go on and see that, a Duracell bunny like Dave Dervin come in and just absolutely run them ragged and really influence the game. He is a CDM, but I mean, he can pass the ball when he wants, and he can have a massive impact on a match like he did tonight. And Tracy as well. Look, I think we've mentioned this young fella a lot in the last 12 months, probably more, but probably in the last 4 or 5 months in particular. But again, come in, big influence in the game, probably getting a little bit, probably lacking something in the middle of the park. I think maybe kind of an hour, 65 minutes in. I think we were like Frank had mentioned there, we're not playing to Keane Dillon's strengths. Yeah, I would agree, because Darrell Hogan, as good as he was, almost found himself a little bit isolated. They were kind of doubling up on him at times, and once you do that, you kind of give him nowhere to go, and it can be difficult. So you need to just find that little bit of a spark in the middle of the park, and that's what these substitutes are about. 9 times out of 10, the lads get it right with the substitutes. We have been critical before a few times, but with certain subs come on and not really impacted the match. But
Ronan Teane also gave us a little bit of energy, didn't he?
Yeah, and like, in fairness to Ronan, he probably should have been booked. He put his hands up to the goalkeeper. I was actually surprised he didn't get booked.
But they were all at that.
Of course, they're all. That's the thing. Provided the ref's going to let it go.
I think Endo was on the end of quite a few late.
Yeah, you're not going to deal. Like, if you don't deal with it once, you're not going to deal with it at all.
I think Jason hit it on the head there. Dervin's the Robbie Savage of LOI.
Well, I mean, he's technically better, but I mean, that type of you don't. Yeah, well, it's the same. You don't want, if you're tired, you don't want the Robbie Savage player coming on and just absolutely running up and down the field only. But yeah, look, a massive impact again, and it goes to show what a Louth Derby will bring out in players, because they're massive games, no matter where we are, no matter what position we find ourselves in. It's a massive coup to go and win a Louth Derby. They find themselves down a few places down the relegation, but like you say, form goes out the window. These are one-off matches, and they're a spectacle on the night. And we haven't had the rub of the green recently, but we definitely got it tonight.
Yeah, Jamie Keown just saying Dervin looks like he's finally been that one person who can replace Shields in the middle of the park. We've seemed like we've looked for that sort of a player for a long time at Dundalk, and finally we have a player who's got that same probably commitment levels and everything else, and that high level of want for everyone around them to reach those levels that and that was always the thing. I think that with Chris Shields was always pushing other people on. You're looking for captains to lead like that, and very often Dervin, if Darryl's not in the pitch, will take the captain's armband, and I think he's right. He's definitely in that sort of a mold where he hits high expectations of all players around him, and he lifts a lot. He can set the tempo as well in that position. Should we talk about the free kick?
Oh, what a strike! And I know they're talking. I think it's all over me. It's goal of the season. I don't know whether it's goal, but what an absolute hit! I was sure Bobby Bones was all over it. It looked to me that it was made for him. I'd say probably the keeper had it in mind as well.
But if you look at the angle, it's Bobby who puts the ball down as well. And you're looking, Mayowa and everyone else is up at the back post. The keepers take a step over looking for it. If it's been dinked in, that he's going to come for that. And clearly Darryl has seen that step. And as soon as he stepped, he knows the wall has blocked that side. He's not going to see it till it goes around. What a hit. Late in a Louth Derby. It doesn't always happen this way for us, but when it happens, it's sweet. And I just think
it's not like we've scored plenty of screamers, but we've gotten a few free kicks over the years, but that's up there with anything. And especially that time of the game where it's on, where we are in the league. Galway are winning tonight. Shelbourne have clawed it back. I know we got 2 games on them. It's a pity they dropped, but we needed those points just to kind of motivate us. Look, a draw wouldn't have been the worst thing either, but to get a win like that, and it's not yes, the own goal, the second goal maybe, but when you win a game like that away from home at your local rivals in terms of county, and in particular Darryl Horgan, the only probably better person on the field to probably score a free kick that would have been more unbelievable would have been the goalkeeper. Do you know what I mean? That's what you're talking. There's probably nobody you want more to get a winner than Darryl Horgan, and what a player! What a player!
It's your captain. It's your captain and everything, against your, like I say, your local rivals. It's the end of the game. You knew at that stage it was very hard for anyone to come back from this. It stunk of when they hit the free kick in Oriel Park as well. You're thinking, it's a bit late in the game now for us to try to get back in this, and you could feel that bit of pressure, and I'd say that had no sooner gone in that the mass exodus in Sullivan Lamb Park then happened, and straight after it sucked life out of the place. It really killed them. Gary, we might take this opportunity, as always, thanks to LOI TV, we have some of the post-match interviews, so we might hear from, I suppose, he wasn't picked as the Virgin Media man of the match night, but we will hear from Darryl Horgan in his post-match chat with Virgin Media.
Since June, as you said, you really needed it. It's more than the 3 points tonight, though, isn't it?
Well, a league game since June. We've won 2 cup games anyway. But look, we knew coming in. Look, it was a huge game for both. So we just felt we had to get something out of it. I thought we played well in the first half, and then all of a sudden, 10 minutes of madness, and we're 2-1 down, and we have to show character and grit. And look, the way football is, you get rode off very, very quickly, and you get you lost, so it's a terrible performance. We haven't been playing badly. There's been moments of not been good in games, but I think we've been playing well and just been on the wrong side of results, and no, it's brilliant to get on the right side of one.
You've just come over to us from celebrating with the fans. If anybody knows what it means to them, it's you. You live around the town, you meet fans every day. Just sum up what it does mean.
Look, it's a huge one. It's the derby. 2 clubs who, in a small county, 2 big towns, and mean so much to both sets of fans. You see that when they beat us at our place as well, and it's a great rivalry. But yeah, look, people are going to be on cloud nine, and look, it's been a long time coming, as you say, not won a league game since June.
Well done, Thomas.
Unbelievable, thank you.
Yeah, Gary, just Anne-Marie kind of tapping in there to, Darryl can go out with the head up now for the weekend around town. Someone will be buying him a coffee, no problem.
Dark accent down as well, is he? But that's what it is, though. I mean, like, it's not like, he's going to go home to Dublin or he's going to get out. Like, he's in the town, he's ingrained in the town, and that's, he has to go around. Like, if he's at a, like you said there, they haven't been playing badly, but if they've had a poor game Portugal, he has to go around the town that week. He's coached up Rory Park as well. He's got to live with that, and it must be a massive burden to be captain of your. It is his new hometown club, so it has to be a massive burden on him. And yeah, look, no matter what Darryl Hogan does, he can walk around town with his head held high, regardless. But I mean, what a way to be part of a 3-2 win, but to also change the course of the game with that free kick. I mean, like, what a player! What, like, I can't believe we even spoke on this podcast. And I would look at, I probably said it. Whether we get the Darryl Hogan of old, like, what cheeky fuckers are we? Do we think that we wouldn't have got the Darryl Hogan of old? Like, we
got a better version.
Yeah, he might have lost a half a yard of pace, but like his goal and his work ethic is right there. I mean,
well, he's got like the top assists in the whole league like this year.
Yeah,
that'll show you how hard he is.
Incredible player. And has changed position, probably an out-and-out winger originally, can play in the 10, can probably play up front on his own as well. But I mean, what an example to young kids. And look, to go way over to England, come back. He's got his Ireland caps as well. To come back and sign for Dundalk as well. We didn't know what we were going to get him for half a season when he first originally signed, or what the story was, but the lads have worked wonders. I just won't say the lads have worked wonders with him. They've probably worked wonders with him in terms of keeping him.
I'd say he's a dream to have.
Oh, like, I mean, like, at that age as well, you may be worried about his fitness or injuries. I mean, he is rock solid. Like, he's an absolute machine.
Yeah. We might take this opportunity then just to hear from Kieran Kilduff in his post-match chat with Virgin Media.
Tonight was about winning no matter what, but what a way to do it. Yeah,
brilliant. Started well, took the lead, probably did what we've done a lot lately, which is conceded it. And to be fair, we touched on it at half time. We said this might suit us a little bit better than usual, because the pressure kind of comes off you. Then players coming onto the pitch can have an impact with nothing to lose. Pressure was released, I suppose. What a way to win. It's a big game for us. We hadn't won a Louth Derby all year. The only team we hadn't beaten. We're on a bit of a sticky patch ourselves, but for the new players, and there's no better way to win it than that.
Just sum up what it means for you as a group to be able to do that for the fans, particularly, as you say, going through a sticky patch. Yeah,
look, this time last year we were in the first division. Do you know what I mean? We've now, I think we're an entertaining one. I think that's why you keep putting us on the telly. We go after teams, we play with a little bit of freedom. Sometimes it's frustrating if you're supporters of us, because we do concede a bit, but we keep going and we wore them down. It's a great night for the club. The owners, everyone around it, the sponsors. We're trying to find our way back. We've had a really poor run. We have to call it for what it was, but to turn it around tonight, the character, hopefully now that'll spur us on for the rest of the season.
Yeah, the kind of night that gives you a spark, a bit of momentum for the rest of the year and a big run in.
Yeah, look, we're still fourth, I assume, because we won. So, that's not going to change. We'll keep scrapping. The FAI Cup next weekend as well, which is obviously probably a nice distraction, especially on the back of a win. But I can feel a little bit lighter now myself already. When you're chugging away, not getting the wins, and the performances are okay. There's only so long you can go into a dressing room without winning. And thankfully tonight I'm going into one that won.
Well done, tonight.
Thanks.
Yeah, Gally, I think the main things there is, Kieran talked about just getting that monkey off the back. We were in a bit of a sticky patch. There was no doubt about it. Now he's talking about that weight being lifted off the shoulders of him and the players. Kind of looking at that Derry match next week in the cup now, it feels like a free hit. You've now got a chance to just go back in there and like, if you were going in that trying to get your form back up, I think that'd be the scary part. But I think the fact that you've gone and you've got that win. Is it a thing now where you're hoping that that's going to kind of reignite your team again? We obviously had a win against Castlebar, probably not the strongest of opponents. But tonight, like Kieran's talking about, we've gone behind before, and we haven't been able to get the win. But now we've done that against our big rivals. We've kicked on. You're consolidated your 4 position, and you got to have a crack at Derry now.
Yeah, I wouldn't fear you wouldn't fear anybody in the cup. I mean, like you said, it probably does feel like a free hit, because now it probably wouldn't have felt like a free hit if we'd have bet tonight, because you would have been into in bad form.
Yeah.
But I mean, on our day, I've said it a million times, the only team that played better football than us is Rovers and Pats on our day. There's nobody better than going forward in the league on our day than us. But an overall package, it's probably Pats now, albeit their result tonight aside.
Mm-hmm.
But on our day, we're, in my opinion, we're a better outfit than Derry. Now, that'll come back to haunt me next week, maybe. But, you know, in a cup game, quarterfinals, look, I would fancy us. And I know that's a mental, but I mean, why not? I mean, go for it. There's nothing to lose. You know, you might as well have a run at it. Yes, look, we got Castlebar in the last round. But look, you got to beat who you put in front of you. You want to try and win an FA Cup. And considering the results that went in the last round as well, teams been knocked out. You know, even if you bring it back to the league as such, what's coming after, we have to play Shelbourne as well. They've got a game extra on us, or 2 games. But I mean, I'd rather have the points. You know, the 2 games are 2 games. We got to win them. You know, so if we can beat Shelbourne, if we can keep momentum going and not drop too many points between now and the end of the season, and beat Shelbourne, we still should finish 4th. No,
if in the league, if you beat Shells though, and you beat Derry, you're probably holding on to that 4th spot, are you? Like that's probably the 2 key games. If you could win anything or make sure you get something out of it, they're the 2 key ones, aren't they, in the league?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And look, would you take a drop in spot in the league to 5th and an FA Cup? Probably. Yeah. I mean, I do like finishing.
Well, you could do all this, finish 4th, Gally, and it not be worth anything.
Absolutely. I mean, like, you know, God, you'd love a run to the FA Cup. I mean, it's been too long for what we were blessed with in the 10s. We really have, especially coming from 1st division last year. Like, you know, Kieran Clough had said there, this time last year, 1st division team, and we've come up to 4th. We spent pretty much all season in 3rd or 4th. So yeah, like you said, you could class it as a free hit, and they will go for it. There is no doubt about it. They'll go for it. And we won't be sitting back. We haven't done it all season. Like Kieran said, we concede goals, but we also score. So people know what they're going to get, but they still can't deal with it. Bit of a bad blip over the last couple of weeks, but in a cup match on our day, I fancy us against anyone. And I actually can't wait for the kick-off in the cup, because we're not used to kind of being in this kind of position.
Just pity it's not at home, isn't it?
No, that's the only probably drawback to it. The only thing you'd change is a home draw. But look, I mean, cup football, they're back and kind of in the mix in the last 8. Like, if you'd have said the start of the season, you're going to be in or around 4th.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to
at least quarterfinals.
You're going to get to a quarterfinal. I mean, you would have took it all right. You know, like so. And I think they can win it. I don't mean the cup. I mean the quarterfinal. And if they can
win the cup,
that,
to hell with that.
Yeah, well, if they can get through that into the semis, there's no reason.
Well.
There is no reason, because we are probably on our day, we're probably the best cup team in the league in the last 15 years. So I mean, we have a serious pedigree for the cup since 2012. So why not? Like you said, you definitely be thinking it's a free hit. So just go for it. Absolutely go for it. And look, we don't need to say that. Dundalk will do nothing else but go for it, and they'll do that for every game. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
Yeah. When you think about Gally, 12 points back now to draw it in the playoff. Like, is it safe to say that's probably safety for ourselves?
Oh, geez,
which was number 1 target at the start
100%.
of this year, was no matter what, like, let's just be safe in this league. We've reached that 40 points mark, which nobody has been, you know, in a relegation playoff with more than 39 points. So it would be a shock if we did drop into that position. But if that is us pretty much secure, like, that's a hell of an achievement anyway in itself by Kieran and Ken and the lads. Yeah,
absolutely. And even when you look down the table, the teams that are below you, like, you're right busting with Shelbourne League champions a couple of seasons ago, Derry City, all what they have. You know, Waterford on a decent run now as well. You know, they're kind of claiming themselves out of unfortunately for draw. But no, like, I mean, you have 7 games to go. I mean, I don't envisage us not winning at least at least 3. Like, I mean, Jesus, you got to expect it to win at least 3, if not 4 or 5. But at 40 points, we're not going to go. We're not going to lose.
I think there's a couple of draws in there, and even if you draw against, I suppose, the Derry and
you've Rovers last game of the season and things. But
at the moment, you would say that may, you were hoping the Pats would probably put a challenge up to them, but that defeat tonight has kind of left that door open. Of 4 points is probably knocked the head on a title charge. You would say so. Perhaps that last game of the season may not have as much writing on it.
No. And then, like, you'd be treating maybe the Shelbourne game. I think it's in about 4 matches away. You'd be treating the Shelbourne game as probably like tonight, like a mini cup final, because it could be, depending on their results go, that could be a really one that gives you maybe 4 for the season. But I mean, between that, the game next week, I really don't see us in any major trouble. Look, I also would have said that 7 or 8 games ago, and then we've gone on a disastrous run. We haven't won since June. But you're hoping now tonight that's a bit of a pick me up, and like Darrell Hogan is right, as much as giving out as probably we've done, they haven't played badly. They've just been a little susceptible at the back, where they've made silly mistakes. But they've always been good going forward. They've never changed the attitude. So you have to admire that as well. Like, this is the way we're going to play, and this is the way it's
just
going to be.
Just on that,
that,
Gally. I mean, we had Igor Vassilin coming in today for his league debut with ourselves as well. I think that's James Rogers had a stat up. It's our 21st combination at the back in 29 games.
Of course, when James Rogers had that stat. That's it. Kieran Kilduff doesn't even know that.
That tells its own story of this year as well, doesn't it? Like, it's been anything but consistent at the back, and you were talking about, Headline Guys in Virgin Media were talking about we are one of the more porous teams in this division, but that stat will tell you exactly why. Like, if you don't have that consistency in the back, it's going to have a level of, you don't build up those relationships in your defence and that understanding. And although we weren't done on that tonight in any way, I don't think some of the goals we have conceded this year is down to exactly that, where we are unsure when people are coming, going, or what position they're going to take up. But that's a lot of combinations to still be fourth in the league with that sort of combinations. That it doesn't seem right.
Yeah, and look, I mean, the teams that win trophies are generally the goalkeeper, 2 centre backs, midfielders are all the spine of a team and don't really have any major problems. We've had issues all over the park, in and around the back line. Even Vastin tonight, I thought he done really well. Probably a little bit caught off with the goal, maybe with the pass through, but I mean, the guy's been allowed to run into the middle of the park, which shouldn't have happened. But I mean, a good player, still a teenager. Like, what a future he'll have.
Yeah, he's a tall enough big lad, isn't he, for a young lad?
And he plays the game well. I can see him tonight. He passes both feet, tackles both feet as well. Like, a really good prospect. But again, like you said, that's a crazy stat to be, considered fourth in the league. The Shelbourne have had a poor season behind us, but yeah, it is a mad stat. Like, I wouldn't have said anyone near that, to be honest. But that's, look, the stats don't lie, as to say. It is a crazy. But to find ourselves in fourth, it just goes to show how good we are going forward as well. Because we have been dodgy at the back sometimes, but generally our play going forward has been top class, and that's probably what's getting us. Like, we've seen in the first kind of, I suppose, the first quarter of the season, almost half the season, where we were just top class and we were almost unplayable at times. And it's just as well we were that good, because we might find ourselves.
I think going forward, like you said, that was probably getting us out of a lot, because just even looking at Mark Harlan's point there, you look at the starting 11 tonight and how different it was from earlier in the season. It's just that point where I could have told you your front four, very handy. Probably the middle of the park was pretty, it was defence. We were just patching up and changing stuff and playing people out of position a lot. To look up, but I did look at, some of the lads at the side today at the bench, and I looked at the 2 Wilsons, Chief O'Keefe and Harvey Warren were all sitting there. I was like, that could easily be our back four tonight. And all unavailable. Like, so to be going through and winning matches with that sort of quality unavailable is pretty outstanding from the lads. Gally, we might as well get down to it. We probably haven't given enough pizzas away this year for man the match. This is probably a bit obvious. It's probably going to be a bit obvious, this one, but who stood out for you tonight?
Well, I mean, the 4 mentions we just mentioned, Vasselin done really well tonight. I thought Anna Masahoon was very good for most of the game. I mean, Devon when he came on, but even for the goal he scored, Keane Dillon, I wouldn't have had a Devon or anything, but I mean, there is only one. Like, I don't know if we can create a Darrell Hogan pizza with Finney. We might have to come up with a concept there. But
Jay McKeown is looking for a statue built of him in the
we'll start with the statue and then we get the pizza. The pizza's probably more difficult than the statue these days.
Well, it's him and Shieldsy have to have one together.
Yeah, and Jason Crawley just on that. Yeah, they did. Brian Kale gave him 2 different names at the halftime analysis. He was Goatsa at one stage and Gotcha. So he definitely got 2 different names from Brian Kale. But look, Darrell Hogan. If Darrell Hogan had done nothing in the whole game and just scored a free kick, I'd still give the win for the pizza. There's Reggie with another stat. Here we go.
There we go. So, like, that's the thing. Like, that'll tell you a lot. Then, so we've only 4 players from the last time that we won, which was away in Bowes, which was Minogue, Buckley, Bobby Burns, and Darrell Hogan. So, like, that'll tell you how much of a transition this team is in. Yeah. And how badly we have been hit with injuries and stuff as well. And it's nice just to finally get another win. Fair play, James, for having the backup on that. Gally, look, we've had plenty like at this late night. You don't think you're going to get that many comments in and stuff. So on Instagram and on all the other socials as well. I think someone who was more devastated than ever to see a Drogheda person winning. The Virgin Media man of the match was Jane McDermott tonight, and said we better right or wrong on that for her. So I think for reaching out, I've been so hurt to see somebody else winning the TV man of the match. I think we'll give it to Jane McDermott. So Jane, there's a pizza on ourselves there for yourself in Tony's Pizzeria. Jane. That you sorted for a bit of grub over the weekend. So enjoy that on us, and thanks as always for all the contributions for everyone else as well who's come in. Gally, I think we've probably wrapped up everything there, have we? We've talked about next games.
With a bit of luck, we'll be here next week talking about who we're going to draw in the semi-finals.
So a few clashes of old heads there, players and now manager as well.
When you get to the kind of the crux and the kind of the real nitty gritty of the League of Ireland, there's always a crossover, and that's the beauty of the League of Ireland. It's brilliant. You always come up against someone who's either haunted you or been an absolute genius for your coaching and football and soccer wise on the pitch. So it just stores up so many kind of mixtures of players. And look, the FA Cup is great. Like, it's great to watch but when you're in it, when you're there, like, because we haven't been for so long, it's a real game to look forward to. And so hopefully we're sitting here talking about how many we should have scored against Derry, even though we scored 4.
Yeah, it'll just be interesting. Obviously, Mark Connolly, someone who kind of came back for a short spell with us, left when we could have done with him at the club, and now he'll come back as a rival manager to us. So that'll be an extra little twist if he's still in the dugout. As you say, Gally, we'll hopefully be back. We'll do this all again next week. I think it's Saturday, is it?
I'm trying to check the kickoff time. Is it?
It's probably late. I think it's an RTE game. So
well, then it's probably 10 o'clock at night.
Excellent. Another late pod next week. So brace yourselves for that one. Thanks everyone for all the comments in. I said apologies for the lateness of the show tonight, but when stewards are losing their heads in the ground, as anyone knows who was there tonight, poor Stuart completely lost the rag with the away fans tonight, and ripped the bib off and tried to jump over the barrier into the Dunor fans, and then all the Dunor fans saying, "You're getting sacked in the morning. You're getting sacked in the morning."
Where would you get it? Unbelievable.
Can't beat it. So I said all these things mean we end up running a tad late. So thanks everyone for taking part. Thanks to Tony's Pizzeria for their continued support of our Man of the Match competition. Thanks to Vinny and all that. Thanks to Mark Carlin who's in there. We are trying to get Wheels of Motion for our end of year show at some stage, so we will have details probably in the next wee while on that. And thanks as always to the ever fit Donald Green on his comeback on the goalkeeping trail, and to Dundalk Village as well for their overall support on the podcast too. That's about us, Scully. We'll be back, as I say, to do it again. Come on the bells and come on the town.
My black and white scarf, my black and white scarf, my my black and white scarf, my black and white, yeah, it's black and white, we're just black and white.